Service portfolio structure. So this is another one you may want to take a snapshot of. So the service portfolio, as ITIL defines it, includes all the services in your pipeline, your existing services, and your retired services. So services in the pipeline are all of those cool things that your BD members have come up with, your product manager has thought about in his head night and day. Those are all the services in the pipeline. You're taking information, you're trying to define requirements, you're trying to figure out who's going to do what and when, right? Trying to map out a timeline for all of these various services and their release dates and renewal dates and all of that. That's the services in the pipeline. So those are the things that you're considering to do.
Mm-hmm.
Existing services obviously are all the things you actually do. And the easiest way to remember your existing services is your service catalog. So the service catalog is what you put on your website. We're Domino's. We provide this, 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 this. um, that's your service catalog. Your retired services are the things that you no longer do. We're Domino's. We provide this, 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 and this. We tried honey buns. It failed. It was a flop. We tried the pizza crust, the pretzel crust pizza. No one liked it. And so we stopped doing that. So those are the things that you try to do, but you no longer do. All three of these things make up your service portfolio, and it's important to keep information on all three of these things. Service catalog, obvious reason, these are the things you currently do now. Services in the pipeline, these are the things that you are considering going after, and you may or may not go after them. You still want to keep this information because as your organization changes and grows, or has strapped for cash, you may go back and revisit these things. Same with your retired services. Domino's may come back and say, you know what, everyone hated the honey bun, but what if we have a honey bun and it's shaped as a pizza and it has sprinkles, but the sprinkles look like pepperoni? Who knows? So you may go back at some point and revisit these things to see if you could actually use them again in the future as your organization evolves. Portfolio structure.
Pretty simple.
Yep. Okay, financial management. Financial management goal is just getting the deal right. It's making sure the money is correct. So this will be a very, very short, short overview of financial management. The objective is that the financial management is in pursuit of enhanced decision making, speed of change, service portfolio management, which includes everything within your service pipeline, your existing services and your retired services, compliance and control, operational control, value capture and creation. So it's basically taking and keeping record of all of the financial aspects of everything in your service portfolio so that you can make a better decision moving forward. The way I remember it, let's see if I get to it. Yep, here we go. Service valuation, service investment analysis, and accounting. So if we look at this from bullet 3 to bullet 2 to bullet 1, these are the ABCs of financial management. So the A is accounting, the B is budgeting, and the C is charging. So if we start with the A, which is accounting, it's responsible for identifying the actual cost of delivering your services. So accounting is the plan for what you are going to spend. Let me do this. Oh, I wish I could type today. Okay. Your B is a budgeting. Oh, wait a second. That's that. Let's do this. Okay, I misspoke. So accounting is your actual spending. That's what you actually have done. So most of the time you compare what you actually spent with what you budgeted, and then you manage the variance, right? And then they report that back to the organization to say, hey, this project has overspent by X amount of dollars. And so what you may want to do is put in additional levels of authority or have a form of review before anyone spends any more money on this project, etc. So your accounting are your actual costs. Your budgeting is what you plan to spend, right? So those are so we looking at the derived value indication for the total life cycle of the services based on the value received and the costs incurred. So that's what you plan to spend. And then the charging itself is the charging to an actual account, a measurement of the total cost of delivering an IT service and total value of business of that IT service. The service valuation is used to help the business and the IT service provider agree on the value of the IT service. So that's the actual charging. Have you ever watched Shark Tank?
Yep.
Okay, so often they always ask, what is this? Okay, what is your company valuation? Like, what is the valuation of this company? What is it? What is it? And they'll come up with some number and they say, well, how did you reach that? Right? How did you calculate that? So that's here. It's the same concept here. It's taking the total cost of delivering that IT service, the total cost that it's going to cost for your business on the business side, and it's taking all of those numbers and putting them together to say, hey, here's a service evaluation. That charging piece is very, very important, because when your product manager goes to the CEO, he's going to say, hey, I have this cool idea. And the valuation for that idea may not be correct if he does not combine some of the business costs that it's going to actually incur to keep that business afloat, or that product, or that idea afloat. There may be back office support that's needed that has nothing to do with IT. There may be a contractor that they may need to bring on that has nothing to do with IT. So all of that information gets built into your service valuation. So those are your ABCs for financial management.
Accounting, budgeting, charging. Got it.
Okay. I'll just keep it here so we can keep it moving. Okay. Okay, business case. Business case is one of the items that we talked about in the DAAC earlier with your example in your product manager. When we talk about defining a service, a business case is oftentimes used to justify something. So it could be justification of a significant item of expenditure. It includes information about costs, benefits, options, issues, risks, and possible problems. A business case also helps analyze the consequences of some decisions, and it is usually in the form of a report, and it may contain information on background, facts and figures, risk, mitigations, recommendations. And so, as an example, why should we buy 34 Mbps links? So, overall, and I think you're familiar with what a business case is, it's a justification for doing something. It's a justification for having this new line of business. It's a justification for creating this new product. It's a justification for eliminating or retiring a service. And so it's just a reason why we want to move in one direction. Which includes, of course, risk and mitigation plans. Risk for moving in that direction, and also risk if we don't move in that direction.
Yep, we do those.
Okay, excellent. Business impact analysis, acronym is BIA. It identifies organizations' most critical business services and links them to financial values or risk. It also helps to prioritize the critical services. And it analyzes facets of services such as impacts of outages, financial penalties, customer relationships, etc. So your business impact analysis looks at it and says, at the portfolio of the organization and says, okay, we provide all of these things. We have to make sure that service A is always available because it's our biggest client, or it's directly connected to the DoD network. And if our system goes down, part of the DoD network goes down as well. There are a myriad of things that could be reasons why a particular service is its most critical, but those are just a few examples. And then it links those business units or services to financial values or risk. So if this service fails or is inadequate, we're going to lose $3 million next quarter. Or we know that 20% of our developers are going to leave because they're frustrated or they're unsatisfied. Or we know that we're not going to win our recompete next year. It also helps to prioritize the critical services. So not only are we identifying which services are critical, we're identifying which are the most critical of the critical services. And then it's analyzing the facets of services, financial penalties, if we miss SLAs, if we don't deliver on time, if the customers are unsatisfied, etc. Customer relationships, referrals, how, company reputation. So that business impact analysis is analyzing all of your most critical business services and what that means in the market. So financial management is to design mechanism for service valuation, investment analysis, and accounting. We talked about service valuation. We talked about BIA. We talked about the ABCs of financial management. And it aligns with IT and business with its own finance policies, which is important because financial management is dealing directly with the money. So they should have their own finance policies, which have nothing to do with IT and the business, except they all need to be in alignment. So for instance, your service desk manager doesn't go to your financial management department and say, hey, I want to implement XYZ policy. It doesn't happen that way. Financial management controls all its own policies and implements them. And they make sure that those policies are in alignment with IT and the business as a whole. It also ensures the accuracy in implementing financial controls. It also is concerned with bill payments and collections. We talked about that, and updating the finance policies as per organizational needs. So as the organization changes, this is also part of CSI. The finance management function would update their policies as needed. Any questions about financial management?